Let's take a look at the bourse yesterday. It was trading on positive territory. Are we seeing profit takers back on, or has that trend continued?
The trend has continued today. The bourse was up over 1%, actually about 1.4%. The banking sector continued to dominate activity. Nevertheless, we saw strong activity in other sectors. In the banking sector, we had the likes of Access, Diamond, as well as Skybank closing higher. Outside the financials, we had the brewery sector do pretty well, as well as the food and beverages sector and the conglomerate sector. So it was a pretty broad performance today, broad positive performance.
Deji, why are Access and Skybank doing well today?
Well, there's been quite a bit of volatility in the share prices of most banks lately. What we've seen is investors beginning to look beyond the immediate. In the run-up to the end of the year, for a lot of banks, the expectation is that they will either report losses or just eke out a marginal profit. But for investors that are willing to look beyond the year 2009 and into the sort of performances we would expect for 2010, there's a very strong case for taking positions at this point. Liquidity conditions have also been quite favorable. And if you look at those two banks, the sort of price-to-book ratios they are trading on, they seem to be favorites for a lot of investors.
Let's take a look at one of the listings today. Honeywell Flourmills is listing today. Firstly, what kind of service is this company going to give?
Well, Honeywell was listed today at about 8.92 kobo. Honeywell is pretty active in the flour milling, processing, and packaging industry, and it's one of the big players with a turnover of about 20 billion naira, competing, with larger players like Flourmills and Dangote Flour. But looking at its operations, it's raised some money, or it came to the market to raise some money last year, about 8 billion, with the intention of applying the funds towards a new pasta manufacturing plant, as well as new businesses in condiments and in spices. The thing to note for investors, though, is that, even using the company's projections for March 2009, based on its EPS projections, its current price would put its PE ratio at about 30 times. Now, this is compared to the broader markets at about 10 times, and a competitor like Flourmills, which is really in single digits right now. So it is looking slightly expensive, that is. And it'd be interesting to see how it trades in the days and weeks ahead.
But do you think Nigeria needs another manufacturing company of this nature?
Well, it's not a new manufacturing company. It's a new listing, but it's been there for quite a number of years. And it's one of the, I call it, innovators within the industry. A definite entrenched stake in that industry, and really just looking to expand its operations. The price of flour, of course, which is the biggest input for these manufacturers, has sort of come down in the last couple of months. Compared to last year, for instance, the price of wheat, that is down about 36% compared to the first half of last year. So the margins within that business have improved a bit, and most of them are engaged in a lot of restructuring in efficiency initiatives, which should help going forward. Although the level of growth that we might see in the next sort of 5 years with the sort of competition, within the industry might temper a lot of the gains.
How do you think market will react to the listing?
Well, as I said, the valuation is really neither here nor there. It makes it quite pricey, really, when you compare it to the broader markets. Considering also that a lot of those that invested in it did so at the end of last year, there might be a significant push to basically exit the stock and get liquidity out of it.
But Deji, I need you to take a stance on this. Are you positive about this listing today? I am not. I'm not positive about it. I think the valuation for the company has to normalize with the rest of the market and with its competitors. It is way above the valuations of most of the others, and I expect that in the days or weeks ahead, it will have to normalize.